when I started therapy as a client, it was in my late 20s. When I was teenager, I started suffering from eating disorder. And I think that it was just the top of an iceberg. So I was surrounded by the need not to show emotions, to be very, very, very stoic, as I said, very firm. I have the association that to change, I need toughness, I need harshness. I was feeling the pain. And in that moment, I made that conscious decision that I'm not going to run away from this pain. I'm going to stay. And something happened. A little movement came out from my finger. And then it went through my arm. Then my arm started to move and then went across my body. So I found myself, dancing that pain. And it was quite discombobulating. As far as I can remember, I've always danced. So I thought, okay, I can use what I can do to connect with people.
Hello and welcome to A Bunch of Therapists with me, Michaela McCarthy.
And me, Dipti Solanki, bringing you stories and insights from inside the therapy room.
This week's guest is
Sabine Tendas. The lovely Sabine shared so much about dance movement therapy, which I found absolutely fascinating.
What I liked about her story, she talked about her eating disorder and how we were able to talk to her about dance movement therapies, about the movement in the body, and we explored how you can move with your emotions in the body.
Yeah, in so many different ways.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that and the creativity that it brings.
Yeah, she's so considered in the way that she does things. I really enjoyed that conversation.
So, Sabine, welcome to A Bunch of Therapists. Thanks for coming on. So what we asked our guests is to talk a little bit about their story of why therapy, because not everyone trains as a therapist. So there is a journey.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Why therapy? It's a interesting and big question, or maybe my answer is big.
That's okay. Go for it.
Well, I became a therapist, a psychotherapist, because I was inspired by my first psychotherapist back in Italy when I was living there, and the way she welcomed me, the way she held me, that was, I think, the sparkle that put a seed on me and made me think, okay, this is what I want to do, because I felt that it was so healing for me. I did wanted to do the same for other people.
It's interesting. I mean, you were very lucky to find a therapist, you know, that worked. You know, there are some great therapists and there's some therapists that work for some, not for others. But I do believe that if you can find the right person for you, one, it really will support you. But two, obviously, you found her quite inspirational for you to be able to think. Because we had a guest on here only a few weeks ago. And he went into therapy and he said, I want to be that person. I want to be him, you know, from what he was doing before. So you kind of had that same realization of sitting with someone and thought, I want to do this.
Yeah, I resonate with this because when I started therapy as a client, it was in my late 20s. When I was teenager, I started suffering from eating disorder. And I think that it was just the top of an iceberg.
How did your eating disorder manifest?
It basically developed being very focused on losing weight, on the calories, being in a certain way, the body shape. I mean, all these things that seems very standard. Of course, looking back now, I know that the process and its roots were much deeper than that. And when I finally found that I was ready to start therapy, it was at the end of my 20s, and I then found this therapist. But in the process of the recovery of my eating disorder, I met other kind of therapists, both in group and in individual settings. So I had the opportunity to see different kind of therapies, different kind of being in therapy, different way of being held, taken care of. But my first individual therapy, she was the one that made me think, okay, this is how I want to be treated and how I hope to treat and to take care of my clients in the future.
How did she treat you?
She treated me in a very in a very gentle way. She was very boundaried, of course, but in a very human way. This was something new for me. This was new because I came from a cultural background that is very hard.
Say more about the harshness.
I grew up in Sardinia, which is a marvelous land, but Sardinia taught me to be stoic, to never give up, to be strong. So I was surrounded by the need not to show emotions, to be very, very, very stoic, as I said, very firm.
Was that more Sardinia or your family structure?
Of course, it was also my family structure. It's not Sardinia because it's a tough land, but it's also a beautiful land. So it's both, I think. And with my therapist, I discovered this new way of being. So being seen as a person, not being seen as an outcome of actions, not as a product. So it was difficult at the beginning to really understand that was a right way. I felt that she wasn't tough. So I thought that, no, it's not going to work. Because, of course, in my mind, I have the association that to change, I need toughness, I need harshness.
And there needed to be an outcome.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. So it was, if I think back, there were sessions where I felt that, no, this is not working, because I'm not suffering, because I'm not feeling the pain.
That's interesting, isn't it? And I think a lot of people will have that idea that therapy equals suffering, feeling the pain.
And because a lot of people choose not to deal with issues or kind of don't seem to understand that they can and that they can explore. They have this idea that you go into therapy and someone fixes them.
Yes.
And that's not therapy. Yeah. It's not about being fixed. You know, I look at it more as about healing.
That's true. And I found myself in that position at the beginning because I thought, okay, I have to manage, I have to fix my eating disorder. So because with diets didn't work, maybe it's going to work with therapy. I didn't know how, but I was kind of waiting for having that response, that magic pill. And it took me years, of course. And it's a process because I finished my therapy with her after 6 years, and then I moved to the UK and taken again my therapy. So in these years, I understood that it wasn't about that; it was about healing, which is taking care of a wound, taking care of the scarf, of the scar.
But it's true. But I think some people, they kind of don't maybe open themselves up to that. You know, it's very, well, I have anxiety, I go and get therapy, that will fix me.
Transactional.
Yeah, it's transactional. And the thing is, that's really not what therapy is. And your anxiety is a symptom of something. And some people struggle more with than others and may need medication. But there's a reason behind that. It's a bit like your eating disorder. Yeah. You don't just wake up one day and think, oh, I know what I'll do, I'll have an eating disorder.
What did your eating disorder help you understand about yourself and your life so far?
I think it was my please others driver. So I had this huge and intense driver of please others. So adapting myself, adjusting myself. I understood that I was acting.
The adapted child.
Yeah, adapting child. And I was a chameleon. So changing colors because I was a good child, going well at home, going well at school. too quiet, maybe, I would say. And of course, he was there for a reason.
I mean, the word that comes to mind, were you raging inside? Were you raging inside because you were quiet? See, people assume that people who are quiet, they're all sorted, they're more introverted, they've got nothing to say. And I think, no, you sit next to someone who's quiet, you will pick up their energy. They are raging inside. It's just that the ragers are much more verbal and out there, but they still don't know why they're raging or what's going on.
Yeah. And definitely, I think that it was, I felt blessed that day when I decided to really take care of myself and my eating disorder, and I started therapy, because then I got in contact with that rage. It was very scary, shaming, because I grew up with the idea that I don't have to show up my emotions, and being a child, being a girl, is not appropriate. That was also another injunction that I received from my family, and I don't want to blame them. It's just observing that, okay, they as well, they come from that background, so they did it for a reason, maybe to protect me, to prepare me for society, for the external world.
There's loads of different things that are messages, and we take them all on board and we think, oh, this is who we are. We're this person.
And controversial messages, I mean, receiving ambivalent messages, this is very confusing for a child, because then I was back, I'm thinking, looking back now, I can see that it was very difficult to orientate myself.
What were those ambivalent messages you were receiving?
Yeah, with these ambivalent messages. And then
What were those messages?
Oh, well, you can, for example, one message was, you can do whatever you want. But actually, when I manifested the willingness to experiment, to do something, they told me, no, you cannot. So it was like feeling trapped in my own body, in my own mind.
Anything you want, as long as we accept what you're going to do.
Exactly. So I received many conditional strokes. So only if. And it took me a while to understand them and to find my own way, because, of course, healing comes with a lot of guilt, because we are breaking the loyalty.
And the traditions.
Yeah.
And the family structure.
And talking, yeah.
But, one thing, when with eating disorders is it's control, isn't it? And, whether you're out of control or in control, if you can't control your environment and you're being conditioned, you can control what you put inside yourself. So it becomes a coping mechanism.
Absolutely.
And people don't realise, they focus on the disordered eating, or whether someone has an addiction, or whether someone has a this, or whether someone has that. But these are coping mechanisms for something behind that, underneath that.
You're right. And looking back now with the experience that I've gained with therapy, I can see that little me with compassion. Now I understand. I really feel what compassion means, because it was a way to survive. That coping mechanism, and a way to really, try to floating in this water. And of course, healing, as I said, comes with, for me, comes with a lot of guilt and loneliness, because I started choosing myself. And so I also felt that, and also felt and seen that people that were with me, maybe at some point they stopped doing with me.
But that can happen. I think when you decide to make some changes with yourself, your life, your family are there, but they observe, they're not sure, they don't know why they're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Friends leave because friends don't know how to relate to you, because they're like, well, you need to be, you're part of our gang, you've got to all behave like this now. And you go, well, I'm going to go off and find another, whether it's another group or another way or myself, whatever that is. And so it can be really lonely. when you make that decision.
It's true. And what I realized is that after I saw those parts of me suffering and saw that, okay, I've got other options, even though they will be painful. But after I saw all of that, I couldn't come back. So once you see, you cannot skip it anymore.
I always find that it's a line. It's an invisible line. I always say it to people and students over the years, you know, once you step over it and going into the unknown, facing the fear, whatever it is, and you go on a journey, you can't go back. You can revisit, but you're a visitor. This episode is sponsored by the Awareness Centre Training School,
a reputable counselling training with foundation courses, BACP accredited diplomas, online clinical supervision courses with leading tutors in the field.
If you are looking for high quality counselling and supervision training, then visit theawarenesscentre.com or give them a call.
If you're enjoying A Bunch of Therapists, why not like, subscribe and share with a friend?
Through therapy, I've got the opportunity to visit my inner landscapes. So to really connect with my inner mover. I like this idea because I always feel in movement. And to give it a chance. Give it a chance because that mover stayed blocked for years. Blocked in that please other mask, please other face. So even though it was scary, I thought, and I'm still thinking that it's worthy to follow it.
And coming to the UK, how did that change your life?
Well, was quite a big change.
Because there's so much difference, especially when you live in London, right? You did when you first came here.
Yeah, and when I came to the UK, I had already had an experience in Spain and Brazil. So different cultures completely. And I was quite happy to be in London. I just wanted to dive myself in the messiness, in the crowdedness.
You can get messy in London as well.
Yeah. I was glad that I have to take the tube for more than 1 hour every day. So I really wanted that vibe.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like London, you try and get from one end to the other, to the other, to the other. It doesn't matter where you start or where you end up. It's 1 hour.
And feeling like a little dot. I really wanted to have that vibe because I wanted to become a psychotherapist. So I thought, okay, I want to succeed here. And London, because it was to be in the middle of the world, because of the diversity, the different communities. So I was ready for the experience, but I also got in touch with a lot of anonymity, feeling that dot at some point it was too much.
So you needed to find your people.
Yeah, and interestingly, I didn't go for Italian community, but I went for the dancing community. So first of all, I found a group of rockabilly and I met people there because dance and dancing has been my other language. As far as I can remember, I've always danced. So I thought, okay, I can use what I can do to connect with people. And this is what I've done.
It's having a common ground, isn't it? So you can rock up in any country. It doesn't really matter where you come from.
Sure.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I had that myself with tennis and stuff and sport. You know, it didn't make no difference to me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to play tennis and hit balls. That was all.
And it's a way where you can feel that you belong to community. You feel recognized. You feel mirrored. All the things that, going back to therapy, all the things that I found in therapy as well.
So is dance part of your work?
Yes, it is.
Tell us, how do you incorporate dance into your work? Because that's part of who you are, huh?
Yeah. I'm very glad that I come to the point where I can incorporate dance in my work. I got a master in dance movement psychotherapy recently in Barcelona. And has been, I think, the end also will be the start of a process, but it has been the end of a process that started years and years ago. I've always danced since I was a child. Not in a formal dance class. I used just to stay in a room and dancing without being seen by judging people, basically. And then during my life, I then started ballroom dance competitions, and then moved to another path of more free dancing, like Afro-Brazilian dances. But what made me become a dance movement psychotherapist, I think that has been the two confirmations that dance can heal, because dance helped me to connect to myself, to connect to my body, to go back to my authenticity, and to go through a very intense depression. So I experienced myself the power of dance, and then I have the confirmation that, okay, dance is not just something that I like it's something that is really healing me, and I feel so natural.
So for anyone listening, what would a session of dance psychotherapy look like? How does that play out in the room?
First of all, I need to say that because we say dance, movement, psychotherapy, dance, people can imagine that, okay, will be like a dance class where you are going to teach me some routine, some steps. You're going to... So I have to repeat it. No, it's not like that. It's just dance because the pioneers, they were dancer and performers. They took for the first time dance in the psychiatric wards. And then, so the name is still dance movement because we are paid tribute to the pioneers. But it's more about the psychotherapeutic use of movement in session. The aim, of course, is to promote that integration between somatic, cognitive, emotional, and social level. So at the end of the day, to promote the well-being of the person. And in a session, the session can happen while we are sitting, for example, or in movement, moving through the space. We can explore during the warm-up or during the process in movement, we call it, something that came up during the check-in. So translating, for example, an issue or an emotion in movement.
Is it moving in your body now?
Yeah. Or for example, if you could be that sensation, how would you move in the space? Or for example, just stay still, breathe, and connect to your own rhythm, and just wait for the first impulse to arrive, to move. And movement, for me, it's that bridge that helps us to create that communication between what is not possible to be said with words, or all those emotions and burdens that we are carrying on our bodies. Of course, it doesn't happen in one session, because it's like in every therapy session, we need to create a safe space, not to feeling judged. Also because using the body is quite awkward for some people.
Yeah, you need to feel a lack of a certain inhibition, I suppose, to do that. And to do that with someone that you don't know very well.
And we are in this Western society where there is a lot of shame and eyes on our bodies, how our body should be like. So we come back to the eating disorder. So, okay, it takes time, but once the alliance, once that trust is done, so it's possible to create that magic.
But I imagine group work and self-development groups would work really well with movement, actually getting people to move.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean dance.
Mm-hmm.
It can just move the body.
Absolutely.
Or sharing how you feel by moving your body, showing your body how you're feeling.
Using your body to express. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's about taking up space. So reclaiming.
So many people are not used to doing that.
It's a meeting point for me, the movement. It's a meeting point where I can meet myself, my ideas, my hopes. And when I can meet people as well, when I can meet them, their own thoughts and feelings. And thinking about the self-development groups, as you said, I now remember that when I was in Brazil, I was working for in a social project, and among the things I've done, I co-run workshops for women, aiming to promote their well-being. Women that they came with a lot of stories of hardship, of violence, of toughness, and so I remember when they entered the room, they were very small. For me, were very small, with their body, very close bodies. But through the use of art, movement, and the empathetic dialogue, then something started to open up.
The esteem, the self-esteem just grew, yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that it's a group, I think that there is a power and a strength there. The fact that there is someone else that witnesses what really fueled that self-esteem in therapy. For example, seeing and feeling that my therapist and myself as a therapist, I can be there with an empathic listening and with an embodied listening.
And also, I find that process really helps us to develop our inner witness as well, and that self-awareness that is required.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about children, right? I mean, you just let them be free until they're conditioned. You know, they have no inhibition. They don't, not really bits. They only start as they start to get a little bit older, probably after 2, 3, they start to feel embarrassed and shy. But, you know, you see girls and boys, you know, they're dancing around and playing and just expressing themselves.
Yeah.
They're just playing and being. And I think what happens when we get older, we feel embarrassed, we feel ashamed. Oh, I'm not going to do that. That's a bit shaming.
Because we've been conditioned. We've been taught to learn like that because we were born okay, as Bern in Transactional Analysis said. But then we learn that not to be okay. We learn to be in a certain way because mom, because family, because culture said that this way is better. But at the cost of losing our authenticity. Because when we were born, we were just body. All the emotions, they go through the body.
I think that's what people don't understand, because when you are in any kind of distress, pain, there is a freeze that happens in the body and it feels unsafe to move or do anything. And that's the bridge, isn't it, of being able to move through that. So we allow it to move through us, whatever it is that we're feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And
it's a bit like asking a client, how do you feel in the room? And they just go, I don't know. You know, they just don't know. That they've already gone into fear, freeze, shame before they even say anything.
And this is a challenge, of course, because there are clients that they want to explore, but they are very blocked. They are stuck. And it's okay, because we can stay with that stuckness, with that stillness, and just observe what happens. And this is something that I experienced myself. This is the second confirmation that I had that made me think that, okay, dance is the path, is one of the paths for me. Because I remember when I was in that depression, at some point, it was a difficult night, feeling that nothing could have sense, feeling quite desperate. And I remember that I was standing in my kitchen, staring at the floor. I was feeling the pain. And in that moment, I made that conscious decision that I'm not going to run away from this pain. I'm going to stay. And something happened. A little movement came out from my finger. And then it went through my arm. Then my arm started to move, and then went across my body. So I found myself dancing that pain. And it was quite discombobulating, because I thought, oh my God, I'm feeling so low, and I'm dancing, because we connected dance to something nice, to something happy. But in that moment, while I was dancing my pain and feeling the pain, I also felt the hope. And this is what moved me
So how do you work now yourself as a practitioner with clients?
I work putting together what I learned. Basically, I trained as a transactional analyst. It's a way to understand our inner world and how we interact, transact with other people. So I train with that modality, and I'm trying to put together with dance movement psychotherapy, try to translate concept, for example, the drivers, those unconscious messages that can become conscious, like be perfect, please others, try hard, that guide us in our life. And because there are not just messages in our mind, they are also in our body. So I'm trying to make those drivers move in the room, try to connect to those messages through the movement. And I do it through offers. So I try to offer the client the idea to look at it from an embodied perspective.
Can you think of any clients in the work that you did was particularly powerful or unexpected that would kind of show how effective this work can be?
We were working with this client with paper, and there were toilet papers there. So the client started to handling this toilet paper. There was a music, quite powerful music on the background. It was Afro music, which is very good for working with the groundness. And at some point, the client start kicking the toilet paper, start throwing the toilet paper on the wall. And so there was a flow of emotion that couldn't be. It was the first time for me, because until to that point, the client was able to talk about the rage. In that moment, she was acting the rage, and she was acting the pain for all the sufferings the client experienced in her life, all the unfairness, and having that experience in a safe space, it was quite healing. A safe space, and a space that is free from judgment.
And it has to be free of judgment for the client to even be able to enter that space, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it's open up a very vulnerable and a very sacred part of themselves.
So thinking of the kinds of people that would engage with dance movement therapy, do you see more women than men? This is just my assumption. And if you do see men, how different is it to work with the different gender groups, all the different gender groups?
That's a good question. During my training, I came across just few men in the field of dance movement psychotherapy. Even in the field of psychotherapy, I encountered just few men, but in dance movement therapies, even less. I think that it's because there is a stigma. We are talking about dance, moving, emotions, and men. And from my point of view, we come from a society that taught boys, young boys, not to show their emotions. They are not allowed to be vulnerable, to be fragile. Boys don't cry. This is true for us as well, for women, or for everyone feels a woman, identify as a woman. But for men, it's even more.
What we do now is we ask, what message would you send out to our listeners and viewers if they can take something away?
I think that no matter what, authenticity and searching for that authenticity, it's worthy. We need to come back home, our own home.
Yeah, your own internal home.
Yeah, and it's worthy. Even when it seems dark, with no way out, it means that the work hasn't finished yet. So we need just to continue.
And that's more of the open-ended type work.
Yeah.
You know, short-term work has a place, 6 to 8 sessions, but longer-term work, it's a journey.
Yeah. And in this long-term work, of course, there are moments where it's difficult. We we crash onto our defenses mechanism. And it's okay. Sometimes we don't have to be stubborn and say, no, we need to crush them right now. We need to just honoring them, because if they are there, there is a reason. So maybe we can just pause and come back later.
Thank you for coming on.
Really lovely to meet you.
Thank you for inviting me. It'd be a pleasure.
You've been listening to A Bunch of Therapists with me, Michaela McCarthy, and Dipti Solanki.
And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to review, like and subscribe to wherever you listen to your podcasts. And do follow us on our socials. Until next time, see you soon.